Welcome back, creators, to this week's episode of Crit Crafting, where I teach you how to make cheap and simple nerdy props. Have you ever wanted to be one of those cool knights who trotted around and fought with swords? Or maybe decided to make some cool drapery for your bedroom or man cave? Perhaps some handmade jewelry for your significant other? Well, today's project is rather versatile in its simplicity. That's right, today I'm going to teach you how to make chainmail. Now, let's see. As always, the first step in the crafting process is to get some supplies. Thankfully, this project isn't terribly complex, so there aren't many things that you need to get. The goal of today's tutorial is to make a much simpler version of this, and give you creators out there a good jumpstart on building your own chainmail by hand. Now, back to the supplies. You may want to use a couple different pairs of pliers. Needle nose pliers work best, but many jewelry professionals or even smiths suggest using jeweler's pliers because they allow for a much more defined grip around the sides of each link. Of course, you'll also want to get some chain links. These are anodized and rubberized aluminum jump rings from Utopia Supplies on Etsy. Rings of about 16 and 5/16 of a millimeter come in packages of 250 for about $7. Be wary of this though, because 250 of these rings doesn't exactly cover a lot of surface area. So they're better suggested for smaller projects like jewelry rather than actual chainmail. Step 2. You want to take your rings one by one and grip each side with one set of pliers lengthwise over half of the ring, making sure to firmly grasp it. Then twist in opposite directions, as pulling to the sides is far more likely to cause a break in the middle. We don't want that. Keep doing this until you have your desired number of rings or a generally large amount laid out. Be sure to set them off to the side in a group separate from the unopened rings as you open them yourself. Step 3. Begin to slowly close your rings together in a straight line by slipping one closed link into the space you opened in step 2. Do this until you have a length that would comfortably fit around and freely come on and off of your wrist. Then close the loop by slipping the ends into one more ring, then close the last ring with pliers. Step 4. Begin to build your chainmail and make it wider along the chain link pattern by adding rings like you see here. If you find any imperfections in the linkage, don't be afraid to remove and or replace a ring or two. Chain is actually a remarkably forgiving medium if you're gentle with it. Much like the process of making a dragon egg, the process for making chainmail is terribly time consuming when you first start, but once you get better at it, it'll be a breeze. Also, while the individual packages of chain rings are rather cheap, the amount that bigger projects demands makes for a large, long-term investment of time and money into making a custom set. And, like I said earlier, you don't really need all that much to make some chainmail. Just a pair of pliers, a couple pairs of pliers, some rings, some desk space, and a bunch of free time. It can be a hobby. Maybe you can do cosplays. That's entirely up to you. Anyway, here it is, a chainmail bracelet made of anodized, rubberized aluminum jump rings. And there you have it. Simple in its construction and versatile in its potential uses, chainmail can be a sheet of flexible metal, a beautiful bracelet or necklace, or even a heavy-duty protective shirt. Do with it as you see fit. Got any questions from me, or maybe some suggestions for my next project? Feel free to tweet me at ZTVGoofingOff using the hashtag CritCrafting. And until next time, I'm Tyler Dillinger, crafting critical content for your creative content consuming needs here on Crit Crafting.